Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a very common parasite among small children. It is Enterobius vermicularis. This particular parasite manifests a very typical symptom of itching in perianal region, and this calls for the attention from the parents and physician that the itching that the child is continuously doing around the perianal region, and especially the nocturnal time or the night time, is the sign that the child might be manifesting or harvesting parasites, this Enterobius vermicularis. Now, about its classification, it belongs to the phylum Nematoda, and the other divisions, as can be seen on the screen. The genus is Enterobius and the species is Vermicularis. It is also commonly called as the pinworm, the threadworm, and the seedworm. As can be seen many times that the threadworm term is also used as small thread-like worms. The history of this particular parasite long phase back to 1865, where Lucart described this life cycle. So, as the name says, it's a pinworm or a threadworm. Also, seedworm because it spreads through sitting on a common chair from one person to other. It is cosmopolitan. It's almost found everywhere in the world, and especially in temperate and the cool climates, other than the warm climate one. Its habitat is the large intestine, where the cecum, appendix, or the ascending colon might be involved. So the habitat is the large intestine. Now, as you can see here, they are fine thread-like or pin-like structures. They're very small in shape and size. Now, let us discuss about its morphological feature. The adult is white fusiform. Pointed ends would be present at both the end, and it resembles a white thread. Its typical feature is the cervical hilly at the anterior end. There are three in number. Usually, it do have a wing-like structure, and it is transversely striated. On microscopic examination, we do see striation or some sorts of lining which are transverse in appearance. Also, about its esophagus, it is a double bulb esophagus. Now, about the male and the female worm, the differences between the male and the female worm. The posterior end of the male worm is curved, whereas that of the female worm is pointed. They do have a copulatory spicule, which is a marked feature of identification of male worm. Although its length is only 2 to 5 mm, is 10.5 centimeter, and thickness is around 0.1 to 0.2 mm. Its lifespan is approximately 7 weeks. Female worm has thin pointed pin-like tail, so it's not curved at the end. The reproductive organ are T-shaped and paired. They are oviparous. Length is around 8 to 13 centimeter, which is like 2 to 3 times the length of a male worm. Thickness is also more, it's almost double of the male worm, from 0.3 to 0.5 mm. And lifespan is even more, that is 5 to 13 weeks in comparison to 7 weeks of the male worm. Now, regarding the eggs, how do we identify the eggs? Because we would be doing stool examination to identify the parasite. So they are colorless, non-bile stain, and they are plano-convex. One surface would be plain and the other surface would be convex. Their shell is double layered and transparent. They do have a sticky outer layer which is albuminous. It do contain tadpole-shaped curved larva inside them, and it's usually viable for 2 weeks after being emitted out of the body. Now, let us discuss about its life cycle. Now, we have a pictorial diagram to make you understand. The adult worm would usually reside in the cecum, appendix, and colon of humans, where the gravid female might migrate to perianal region and oviposit. Oviposit means deposit its egg there in the perianal region. Now these uh, eggs which are being laid in the perianal region might have two destinations. One is the retroinfection, that is again this larva would enter into the same child as the child is experiencing itching. So while it's itching, these eggs would get stuck to its hands or fingers and goes again into the mouth, into the digestive tract, or it might be distributed in the environment, like wet linens, clothing, or even hands of the person who is taking care of such individual or the child. And as it enters into the digestive tract, the larva will hatch in the small intestine, and larva will migrate to the large intestine, where it will populate or reproduce and again lay eggs. Regarding its um, life cycle, it is monozygous. That depends only on a single host. That's the only host is human host, and it is one of the simplest of all intestinal worms that is known to us. The infected form is the embryonated egg, which is laid by the female in the perianal region, and the route of transmission is fecal-oral. And to understand fecal-oral, to the anal region, it comes out and again it enters into the oral cavity, that is mouth. Egg transforms into larva in 5 weeks in the small intestine. Larva undergoes molting in ileum and finally mature in the adult in the cecum within 15 to 30 days. So once ingested, it goes into the small intestine where it transforms into an adult and then enters into the cecum. And that this process usually takes around 15 to 30 days. And after they have formed into an adult form, they undergo reproduction, and immediately after reproduction, the male will die, the female do survive. So the only kind of worm which would be usually found in the large intestine is the female worm. Usually the males will die. So what happens here is egg converts into the larva uh, in small intestine within 5 weeks. It causes molting and maturation into the adult form in 15 to 30 days, uh, which usually converts into adult, which are of two form, male and female, which will die after fertilization. The male will die after fertilization. Again, the female worm will migrate to the rectum, come out to the anus during the night time. That's why the nocturnal itch or the night itch is present in the child. These they do come out to lay the eggs in the perianal region and perineum region. So approximately one worm can lay around 5,000 to 17,000 eggs, and they do become infective in 6 hours. They will complete their life cycle from laying the eggs to again becoming an adult mature worm. It takes around 2 weeks to 2 months. Now about its pathogenesis, the adult worms will lay eggs which do have a mucoid albuminous secretion, which causes the eggs to adhere together. Now, due to this secretion, there is an irritation, and this irritation leads into nocturnal perianal region itching. So, the itching is the key feature to find out whether the child is suffering from intravenous vermiculitis or not. So, this itching is also referred as pruritus ani. It causes scratching and excoriation of skin. So, we'll be seeing raw denuded area around the anal region. Also, due to the itching, there would be redness, and it will cause disturbed sleep, bedwetting, and that is nocturnal enuresis might also be seen. In case of severe infection, where the infection has raised, it might also cause neurosis, nail biting, and grinding of teeth at night. It is one of the key feature to identify whether the child is suffering from infection or not. And you can see the perianal region being manifested by so many worms. They have came out in the night for laying the eggs in this picture. Also, the complication, the vulvovaginitis or chronic salpingitis, these both refer to if these infection migrates to, or these worms do migrate to the vaginal cavity. They might infect the vulva or the vaginal tract, and also the fallopian tubes also. Whether in case of male prostatitis, urethritis, common in male and female both, endometritis, endometrium might get affected, and granulomata with dead worms and eggs might also be seen. That is, granulomata formation due to dead worms and eggs are also the complications of Enterius vermicularis. Now, regarding its epidemiology or how does this spread, usually there is a group infection present in school children and is prevalent in temperate countries. Source is infected human, other like bedding, night clothing, tabletop, doorknob, where usually a person scratches, the child will scratch and put their hand on these surfaces. So these surfaces becomes the place for transmission. The transmission is auto-infection, contaminated articles, direct contact, inhalation of air, and retro-infection. Retro is from scratching. The child might scratch and put his own hand in his mouth. So again, the same individual will get affected. Diagnosis, if there is a history of perianal pruritus, we can go for lab diagnosis of the stool sample, and the perianal skin examination can be done. And also we can examine stool after an enema to see, we will find number of adult female worms in the enema coming out. We can also demonstrate eggs in the stool. Prophylaxis, health education on personal group chemotherapy. Suppose if one individual from the stool or the child is affected, we can give prophylaxis or treatment to other children so that they might not get affected. Thank you. That's it. That was all about Enterobius vermicularis.